tonight to look at the Brandt proposal to purchase properties at the Real District. A youth pleads guilty in the death of a man on Carry the Kettle, Nakota Nation. And several avian flu cases are discovered in Saskatchewan.
Live from our studios in Regina, this is CTV News.
Good evening. We're getting a clear picture on how Brandt Sports and Entertainment would revitalize a large portion of the Real District. Their proposal that will be reviewed tomorrow by the city's executive committee provides numbers and artistic renderings of what renovations will be made. Jacob Carr has the details.
The president of Brandt Industries is set to appear before executive committee on Wednesday to present a proposal that would see the company purchase a large portion of the Real District, including the Agribition Building, the Brandt Centre, and the Queensbury Centre. According to the proposal, the total investment would be north of $113 million. That would include a $6.5 million purchase price, $1 million previously committed for the Queen City Distillery project, and $73.5 million in deferred maintenance. Brandt says the aim is for the Real District to host more than 100 events annually, which they say is double the current amount. The proposal has received a handful of letters of support from organizations like Country Thunder and the Regina Hotel Association. The Saskatchewan Roughriders have also penned a letter saying the club would appreciate the opportunity for engagement as the process continues.
I think there's some investments being contemplated that would be good for our fans, and ultimately that's what's important to us. And we're launching tailgating this year. We're really excited about that. There's some thoughts there around repaving the parking lots, lines, things that will be positive.
There are also voices of concern from local residents. According to city administration, continuing under the status quo is projected to require nearly $97 million in taxpayer investment over the next 5 years. By comparison, the proposed plan reduces that number to $18 million. Brandt's proposal outlines many improvements to the Brandt Centre, including a new exterior, digital signage, and a new sound system. It also wants to create a new entrance to the property on Sass Drive. 13 delegations are set to speak on the proposal at Wednesday's executive committee meeting. If approved, it will be voted on by City Council on May 6th. Jacob Carr, CTV News, Regina.
The husband of a woman killed at a dangerous rail crossing in Churchbridge was at the Legislator building today asking for safety improvements. Matthew Thompson wants warning lights installed, but the community can't afford the cost. And as Wayne Mantika tells us, he's hoping the government can help.
Matthew and Alyssa Thompson were married for little over a month when the 29-year-old woman was killed in a collision between her vehicle and a train at a rail crossing in Churchbridge. It occurred a few days after Christmas. Now her husband is pushing for warning lights at the crossing.
Everybody who knew Alyssa loved her. She was just a kind person. She works in healthcare, always put everybody else before herself, including the residents at the care home where she works in Saltcoats.
Safety improvements were considered 3 years ago after a similar collision at the crossing took the life of a man and injured 2 children. The town felt it couldn't afford the cost of lights, which at the time exceeded $300,000. Matthew Thompson feels the investment needs to be made.
Once it got to talk of the financial part of it, it seemed to just fall on deaf ears.
The NDP opposition raised the matter in question period.
For a town of 900 residents, these costs are too high, but for the provincial government, it's a drop in the bucket to save lives.
The government has been looking into the situation.
We're going to continue to work with our partners, with the Class 1 railways. This is an issue that is raised, unfortunately, far too many times.
Matthew Thompson met with government and opposition officials while at the Legislative building. He hopes that his efforts and those of others in his community will speed safety improvements at the railway crossing. Wayne Mantika, CTV News, Regina.
Saskatchewan's premier says while he supports Manitoba's plans to restrict social media and AI access for kids and younger teenagers, he's not sure about a single province approach. Manitoba Premier Wab Kinew announced the proposed ban this week for anyone under 16 years of age. Scott Moe told reporters today that while Saskatchewan did explore the possibility of a ban at the provincial level, the province went a different direction. Moe saying preferring a Canada-wide approach at the federal level.
we see an openness with the Prime Minister and the federal government to have that discussion. And so what we have thought would be an effective way for Saskatchewan to approach that discussion is to ask parents and families what your views are on social media limitations for children, at what age that should happen. There's some nuances to the question. And then
he added the government plans to provide information both publicly and to the federal government to help in any consideration of a national ban. The province hopes to have its survey out within the next few weeks. A teenager charged in connection with the death of a 31-year-old man from Carry the Kettle, Nakota Nation in March of last year has pleaded guilty rather than proceeding to trial. Sierra D'Souza Butts was in court and has more on today's proceedings.
A teenager charged with manslaughter of a 31-year-old man on Carry the Kettle, Nakota Nation in March 2025 has entered a guilty plea. The youth, who could not be named due to the Youth Criminal Justice Act, was charged with manslaughter in the killing of Drew Jack. Around midnight on March 21st, 2025, at Carry the Kettle, Nakota Nation, a resident called File Hills Police Service reporting his black SUV was taken without permission by the offender and one other youth. A group of adults, including Jack, went out into the community to look for them, finding the pair parked at a road junction on the First Nation. Following an altercation, Jack exited his car, removing the offender from the driver's seat, leading to a physical fight between the two. One adult telling police they heard a pop and saw Jack fall to the ground. Around 2:50 a.m., police received a call for emergency medical service after a man was reported to be in cardiac arrest at a home on the reserve. Jack's sister called police about an hour later, stating she believed Jack had been shot by someone. He was later pronounced dead in the hospital. In a statement to CTV News, Jack's family says it has been 1 year of unimaginable pain, loss, and unanswered questions, stating the guilty plea does not feel like justice, that without meaningful consequences and intervention, there is a real risk of reoffending and more families being devastated like ours. The case is not connected to the quadruple homicide that occurred on the First Nation on February 4th, 2025. Justice Catherine Dawson accepted the youth's guilty plea, finding them guilty of manslaughter. A trial for the youth was supposed to start in November, but that will be put aside by the plea. Sentencing submissions will now proceed at Quarter King's bench in June. Sierra D'Souza Butts, CTV News, Regina.
The Regina Board of Police Commissioners met today, hearing about area-by-area crime stats, a report from the forensic unit, and an update on its fleet. For patrol vehicles, police did look into potential electronic options, but say they're not currently reliable enough for policing, particularly when it comes to extended duty cycles and limited charging opportunities. Hybrids, on the other hand, do present some advantages, but are far more expensive. The police chief said managing the fleet is complex given the 24/7 nature of policing, but many aging vehicles are given a second life by alternative response officers.
We are balancing operational readiness, being able to respond to those emergencies, as well as fiscal responsibility. And we are very intentional with that. Like, if a vehicle is miled out, we need to replace it. We give it to our AROs who aren't putting on a lot of miles so that it extends the life of that vehicle.
According to the report, it costs about $6,500 annually to maintain a patrol vehicle. The average lifespan is about 170,000 kilometers, or about 4 years of service. 4 people are facing drug trafficking charges after a 2-month investigation by the Regina Police Service. Between March 13th and April 22nd, search warrants were conducted on 2 vehicles in 2 residential areas, one on the 1800 block of Victoria Avenue, one on the 0 block of Centennial Street. Officers seized 2.43 kilograms of cocaine, so that's 2.43 kilograms, and more than $10,000 in cash. A 23-year-old man from India, a 21-year-old woman from Regina, a 25-year-old woman from Saskatoon, and a 34-year-old man from Mississauga were charged with possession of a controlled substance for the purpose of trafficking. Now, since 2020, deaths by drug overdoses each year in Saskatchewan have increased, causing concern from city centres to rural communities. Now, an academic-led conference is looking to find ways to combat the stats and help those struggling with addictions. Mick Favel has more.
Knowledge keepers, academics, students, and community leaders have come together to discuss high-risk substance use happening locally and across the country. The gathering is focused on healing and Indigenous-led solutions rooted in community and culture.
We need to recognize what we need to do in our communities. One is really reconnecting with our culture, language, and our own society, like working in our own communities.
A number of topics are being discussed throughout the two-day conference, including developing community strategy, treatment programming, as well as meeting people where they are, having important talks with those dealing with addictions.
Having conversations with them, letting them know that I understand you're hurting. I understand you're not okay right now. It's okay not to be okay, but you're loved. And there's help, and I'm here. Planting seeds, right?
The government of Saskatchewan has introduced the Compassionate Intervention Act. A similar act is being developed in Alberta and will be discussed at the convention. This includes researchers looking at the Alberta legislation who say there are many differing viewpoints on the topic.
It's polarized, and people have different opinions. Part of that is because we're all touched in different ways by addiction or substance use. So it's very personal, and I think it hits home, a little too close to home for a lot of folks.
April has been a deadly month for overdoses in the province, with over 300 reported in Regina and Saskatoon alone. Advocates say these conversations are happening at a critical time and are a good starting point for the future.
This is really intended to be a first step. It's not meant to provide all the solutions or come up with all the answers, but it is a starting point in a conversation.
The Summit on High-Risk Substance Use concludes Wednesday at the First Nations University of Canada. Mick Favel, CTV News, Regina.
And Sabine joins us now for our first look at weather. So we're not at seasonal temperatures yet. We're slowly getting there.
Very slowly getting there. It's not a quick jump to 20 degrees like we saw last time after that snowfall, Lee. So we're still seeing some of that snow on the ground, but the melt will be on the way before we get to the weekend. That is for sure, Lee. Again, gradual warm up. Today we didn't quite get there. We did warm up above zero. 6 degrees was what our daytime high was today in Regina. And again, for reference, the average high is usually about 14, 15 degrees for this time of year, especially in southern Saskatchewan. Could even warm up to about 16 degrees, but we really didn't see many of those temperatures today. And heading into tomorrow, it's just a slow warm up. Again, some areas will get into the double digits. Other areas may just warm up by another few degrees before we really get to that 20-degree mark, possibly by Friday. Not a whole lot coming up in terms of active weather. You could see a little bit of rain, scattered rain in the southern part of the province, like just along the southern border. But in terms of temperatures, we're still sitting above 0 degrees heading into this evening for now. But I'll have details coming up in your full forecast. Lee?
All right, thank you, Sabine. A northern Saskatchewan man has admitted to starting one of the province's largest wildfires last year. Laura Woodward explains.
A man from La Ronge has admitted to sparking a massive wildfire last year. 29-year-old Jason Halkett pleaded guilty to arson in connection to the Ditch 2 wildfire. It was first reported on May 26th in the hamlet of Weyakwan. The wildfire burned more than 200,000 hectares, about 20 times the size of Saskatoon, threatening communities along the Highway 2 corridor into La Ronge. The Ditch 2 fire started as several other major wildfires, including the Shoe and Wolf fires, were already burning across northern Saskatchewan. After the Public Safety Agency determined the fire was human-caused, RCMP launched a criminal investigation. Halkett was arrested in August in Saskatoon and charged with 1 count of arson, damage to property. The offense carries a maximum sentence of up to 14 years in prison. He's scheduled to be sentenced on May 7th in Montreal Lake. Weyakwan officials are urging anyone affected by the fire to submit a community impact statement to help inform the judge's sentencing decision. Laura Woodward, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Well, as birds migrate their way back north to Saskatchewan, federal and provincial officials are keeping their eye out for avian flu. Since December of 2021, it's believed more than 1.2 million birds in Saskatchewan have been impacted. And as Damien Smith tells us, cases have already been found in the province.
As large flocks of birds make their way back to Saskatchewan, concerned residents are dialing the phones of wildlife rescuers. According to the Wildlife Rescue Society of Saskatchewan, at least half of their calls have been related to the avian flu.
Strangely, this spring, we're getting calls from people who have sick geese on their front step of their home. So the goose has taken shelter on the front step and people don't know what to do.
The Ministry of Environment says that the majority of their avian flu-related calls have been coming from central and southern Saskatchewan.
As the birds are moving through on their spring migration, trying to get up to their nesting grounds, and they're crowded, they're stressed, and then that increases risk of transmission.
According to the Canadian Food Inspection Agency, there are 7 current infected premises in the province, tying Alberta for the most in the country. There are 4 main areas of the province that are currently affected by the avian flu, both commercial and non-commercial.
Wildlife are susceptible, as are domestic poultry. The domestic poultry are quite susceptible. With the wildlife, it's a little bit more variable.
Salthaven West says birds that are more susceptible to the avian flu are ducks, geese, crows, and raptors. But recently, they have also treated crows and a great horned owl.
It's sad to see when people call us, they'll send us videos of the animals and they just don't look well and they're not doing well. And it's very sad to see. So we encourage them to just leave them alone and not handle them.
Wildlife experts say if birds show any symptoms, such as being off balance, are lethargic, have cloudy eyes, are falling over, or having seizures, to not touch them and call a wildlife rescue. Damien Smith, CTV News, Regina.
The Saskatchewan Health Authority reminding people to be aware of Hantavirus during any spring cleaning. Hantavirus is spread by airborne particles from infected deer mice droppings, urine, or saliva. According to the SHA, precautions against Hantavirus include ventilation at least 30 minutes before you start your cleaning, using wet cleaning methods like mopping rather than dusting, sweeping, or vacuuming, and wearing goggles or an N95 filter mask. Health officials also advise keeping an eye out for signs of pests. Between 1994 and 2025, there have been 38 cases of Hantavirus in Saskatchewan, including one preliminary case last year. A dozen of those cases were fatal.
Still ahead, the federal government provides an economic update. And the U.S. president welcomes King Charles to Washington, D.C.
Prime Minister Mark Carney and his government unveiled its spring economic statement today. While signaling a decreased deficit ahead of the update, the numbers tell a different story. Mike Lecouture has the details.
It's more than just an economic update, proposing $37.5 billion in new measures over 5 years. A part of that includes a new skills training program. The government hopes to recruit, train, and hire between 80 and 100,000 skilled tradespeople by 2031. The cost of the program is $5.9 billion.
This means real pathways into skilled trades with paid training and on experience. It means more opportunities for employers to hire and train young workers.
While the deficit was $11 billion lower this year compared to last fall's projection, the long-term outlook is largely unchanged, with no path to balance for the next 5 years. And the deficit will remain over $50 billion into the 2030-31 fiscal year.
Today's Liberal fiscal updates brings more costs, more debt, and more bills on the national credit card. This Prime Minister is just another Liberal.
Royalties from high oil prices are contributing to government revenues, but Canada is facing fiscal headwinds from the ongoing trade war with its largest trading partner.
Together, we can chart a path forward to the fog of uncertainty, because Canada has what the world wants and increasingly needs. We have the right plan. We're building big. We're moving fast.
In addition to yesterday's announcement of the Canada Sovereign Fund, there is other new spending. $755 million over 5 years to support Canada's sports system, including Olympic athletes, and $4.3 billion for Indigenous communities. There is one pocketbook measure Canadians could feel. The government is reducing the contribution rate for the Canada Pension Plan. Someone earning $70,000 per year will get to keep $133 more of their take-home pay annually. But there are few other new measures to help Canadians on a daily basis.
I think what it demonstrates is the high fiscal cost to the government of trying to introduce new pocketbook saving measures for Canadians. It is very expensive.
Pressed on that, the finance minister pointed to measures like bolstering the grocery and essentials benefit, as well as suspending the excise tax on gasoline until Labor Day, as ways the government is helping Canadians deal with the affordability crisis. Mike Lecouture, CTV News, Ottawa.
King Charles and Queen Camilla were welcomed to the White House today for a historic state visit at a time of strained relations between Donald Trump and UK government. But as Joy Malbin tells us, all of that was put aside as the White House rolled out the royal red carpet.
A grand show at the White House, pomp and ceremony, pulling out all the stops for the royals. Even on America's 250th anniversary of breaking away from Britain, the president adores the monarchy, and so did his mother.
She loved the royal family, and she loved the Queen. I also remember her saying very clearly, Charles, look, young Charles, he's so cute. It's my mother. My mother had a crush on Charles.
No hint of tension here, but the king's diplomatic challenge is to smooth over the strained special relationship over the U.S. war with Iran. Trump lashed out at NATO allies and UK's prime minister for a lack of perceived support.
This is not Winston Churchill that we're dealing with.
For American royal watcher Rashad Thomas, mixed feelings about this visit.
I'm offended by President's attacks on Canada, slagging the Royal Navy not long ago, and the British Prime Minister, and it's just really not the way you treat allies.
The first ever British king to address Congress, Charles acknowledged the attempt on the president's life.
Such acts of violence will never succeed. Whatever our differences, whatever disagreements we may have, we stand united in our commitment to uphold democracy.
And despite political friction, a reminder of a long shared history and values.
From the bitter divisions of 250 years ago, we forged a friendship that has grown into one of the most consequential alliances in human history.
What's not on the schedule, meeting with Epstein survivors, the king's younger brother Andrew questioned by police, stripped of his royal titles over his dealings with the pedophile.
Tonight, a royal banquet where the president was very much involved, calling it an honor, telling the BBC that the king's visit will go a long way in healing any friction. Joy Malbin, CTV News, Washington.
Former Dances with Wolves actor and convicted sexual predator Nathan Chasinghorse has been sentenced to 37 years to life minus about 3 years of time already served. Chasinghorse was found guilty of multiple counts of sex assault against a minor and other charges in Nevada. The 49-year-old had a group of followers described as the Circle. Prosecutors say Chasinghorse used his reputation as a medicine man to prey on Indigenous women and girls. Chasinghorse told the court he denies the charges. He also is wanted on warrants here in Canada.
Coming up in this week's Indigenous Circle, teaching land-based learning to students in Saskatoon.
Provinces are shifting away from time change. Wednesday on Your Morning, how Lloydminster's mayor says they'll be affected by Alberta's decision to move toward ending the clock change.
Welcome back. We're going to take a look at your forecast heading into this Tuesday evening and what's to come for the rest of the week and possibly what's expected for the weekend. We didn't get very warm today, warmed up to about, well, actually, we're seeing a gradual warm up. We're at 7 degrees. I said 6 degrees earlier, but we've now hit, last I checked before coming into studio was 6.8. So 7 degrees is what we're sitting at right now with the winds just over 15 kilometers an hour and not a lot to show you on the radar satellite. Saw some of that cloud cover rolling through. We're seeing little specks of some scattered precipitation in the form of showers. So rain, scattered rain in parts of southern Saskatchewan right along the border there, even just north of Saskatoon. But other than that, it's been mostly just the cloud cover that we were dealing with. But as we head into this evening, we'll see a lot of that cloud cover from across Saskatchewan start to clear out. But we won't be completely rid of it as we head into tomorrow. So starting your day, depending on where you are in the province, eastern Saskatchewan seeing mostly cloudy conditions as you wake up first thing in the morning. Clear conditions for eastern Saskatchewan, and that will continue to be the story as we head into the afternoon. Now, late in the afternoon, we could see some scattered showers again, mostly in the east there, along even in south central Saskatchewan. Regina could see some scattered showers around, I want to say late afternoon. Anytime afternoon until about 3 or 4, we could expect to see some of that scattered precipitation in the form of rain. Other than that, that's basically the story we're going to continue to see. Still a chance of some scattered showers up north of Prince Albert as well, but for mostly southern Saskatchewan, it's cloudy conditions as we head into the evenings, and by Thursday evening, you can see a little bit more of a system coming through parts of the southeast there, including the Parkland. Yorkton will see some rain. Again, the darker the green there, the heavier the rainfall expected, and there's little pockets of yellow, which suggests that we could also see some possibility of some hail, possibly some storm activity coming through parts of the southeast there. That's not until Thursday evening, and then continuing just to see the clouds clearing as we head into the day. Now, again, I was mentioning the average lows for this time of year, depending on where we are. The further north, we're going to see those temperatures still below zero. So lows usually hovering below minus, I want to sit about -2, -3, and the highs are usually about -9, -10. So as we take a look at what the north is expecting tomorrow, we're going to see the average daytime highs within seasonal range, but the lows tonight still cooler than average. 16 degrees for Lloydminster tomorrow, 10 and a mix of sun and cloud for Prince Albert. And when we get into parts of North Battleford there, still cooler than seasonal for tonight, but warming up to 15 degrees tomorrow with a mix of sun and cloud, 11 and mainly sunny for Saskatoon, 9 and mostly cloudy for Yorkton tomorrow. For the southwest there, we're going to see warm temperatures within average range there, 14 and a mix of sun and cloud for Maple Creek, Swift Current 13 and a mix of sun and cloud, and for Moose Jaw 12 and mostly cloudy. In the southeast, similar story there. We're going to see a little bit more cloud cover for Weyburn and Estevan, expecting 11 degrees is the expected high, 11 also for Assiniboia with a mix of sun and cloud. For Regina, -5 is the low tonight, so definitely cooler than the average +1 low that we're usually expecting to see. Warming to 9 degrees tomorrow, so not quite into that seasonal range, but we're getting there. Mainly sunny, winds picking up to 40 kilometers an hour, but this is where we start to see that nice warm up heading into the rest of the week. 9 degrees for Wednesday, mainly sunny, winds picking up to 40 kilometers an hour. By Thursday, we're warming to 13 and sunny. Friday, 19 and sunshine expected throughout the day there. By Saturday, winds picking up to 45 kilometers an hour, 15 and a mix of sun and cloud. Sunday, winds even higher, expecting wind gusts up to 50 kilometers an hour, a high of 17 degrees and sunshine there. By Monday, 16 degrees and mainly sunny. And by Tuesday, a little cooler, dropping below seasonal. 8 degrees is the expected high, seeing a mix of sun and cloud, but winds still gusting high up to 55 kilometers an hour.
Greetings, everyone. Wanuskewin Heritage Park and the Greater Saskatoon Catholic Schools are continuing an agreement to educate the next generation about land-based teachings. The two organizations met on Earth Day, a global event dedicated to environmental protection. CTV's Hallie Mandrick has the story.
Students attending various schools in and around Saskatoon will officially be able to continue accessing teachings from Wanuskewin.
Land-based learning is a very important part of Indigenous culture and the spirituality of what that means. And so to be able to tie both of those in together, it just speaks to the fact that we're able to give all of our students that opportunity to learn from Mother Earth. And I think it's a beautiful day to be able to do this signing.
Greater Saskatoon Catholic Schools and Wanuskewin Heritage Heritage Park renewed a partnership for another 4 years. This agreement allows for students to access a variety of land-based teachings offered at Wanuskewin through their schools.
Where they can come out to the park, they can participate in programming, guided walks, might be art programs, it might be opportunities to learn from storytellers or knowledge keepers, elders, and all that can happen here at Wanuskewin.
A memorandum of understanding extended the partnership, which first began in 2021. The signing also coincided with Earth Day, which provided an opportunity for some teachings about the importance of the date.
You have to save Mother Earth because you need to keep her healthy. It's important to clean up around the earth so the animals don't get sick.
As one student says, the lessons taught through Wanuskewin have a special importance.
It's a good thing so they can learn about our culture and to take it in their brain so they can pass it on to other generations.
For Indigenous Circle, I'm Hallie Mandrick.
If you have a story you would like to see in this segment, here's how to reach us. You can contact me by email, and you can also watch past episodes and segments of Indigenous Circle on our CTV Regina and CTV Saskatoon websites.
Indigenous Circle, brought to you in part by Saskatchewan Indigenous Enterprise Foundation, growing the First Nation entrepreneurial spirit.
The Riders have made their first pick in this year's CFL Canadian Draft. We'll tell you who it is after the break. Dozens of Canadian football players waiting to hear their names called in the CFL draft, which just got underway. But the league overshadowed the event a little bit, announcing changes to the playoff format and schedule in 2027. Next year, the regular season will start earlier on a Victoria Day weekend in May, while additional games will be added to the playoffs. So in the first round, the top two teams in each division will play each other. The winner moves on to round 3, which is the Grey Cup semifinals, while the loser will play in round 2. It's kind of like the 1-2-page playoff game in curling you see right now. The other teams will be seeded based on their records, with the last place team eliminated. So only one team won't make the playoffs. 5th seed will host the 8th seed, while the 6th seed hosts the 7th seed. Winner moves on, loser goes home. So in round 2, the losers of that top 2 showdown games, they will host the winners of the 5 versus 8 and 6 versus 7. The host team with the better record will play the road team with the lower seed. Winners move on, losers go home once again. And finally, round 3, the Grey Cup semis. The winners of the top 2 showdown games will host the winners of round 2 for a trip to the Grey Cup. So there's actually a chance we could see 2 West teams or even 2 East teams in the Grey Cup final. The CFLPA, by the way, was consulted and has agreed to the changes. Here's what the Riders have to say.
It's already hard to win the Grey Cup. I think this makes it harder. Obviously last year we were advantaged by finishing first and winning 1 game. You get to the Grey Cup. Now you got to win at least 2, but finishing first or second, but certainly first gives you an advantage because you're going to have potentially you're going to have two home playoff games to help your chances to get to the Grey Cup.
The 2027 Grey Cup game will take place at Mosaic Stadium in Regina, November the 7th. Now, after winning the Grey Cup, the team's 5th last year, the Saskatchewan Roughriders had to wait till the end of round 1 to make their first pick in today's CFL Canadian Draft.
With the 9th pick in the 2026 CFL Canadian Draft, the Saskatchewan Roughriders select Malcolm Bell, defensive back, Michigan State.
Yeah, the Riders going with a defensive back. Malcolm Bell played plenty of snaps at Michigan State and UConn. He could be seen as a future replacement for Tavon Campbell on the corner when Campbell decides to move on, or maybe a safety option. He's going to Cleveland Browns mini camp, so likely won't be with the Riders to start the season. Riders do have 7 more picks, 1 in each round. Now, Riders rookie camp is set to begin next week, believe it or not, in Saskatoon, with main camp slated to start on May the 10th. But the players won't be the only ones looking to impress. As Derek Haggett tells us, a university student from Atlantic Canada is joining the team as part of the CFL's Women in Football program.
She may only be 21 years old, but Mount Allison student Julia Cameron has had a long football journey. It started when she was just 11 months old and would watch games with her father, a former player and coach.
Before I could even speak, he taught me the illegal procedure sign, so the ref would say it, I'd do the signal, and then I fell in love from there.
Cameron played with the boys growing up in her hometown of Truro and was always the only girl in the squad, but she never felt excluded.
I just love being a part of the team, the camaraderie, and just there's no environment like football.
The Commerce student records practice and game video for the Mounties and engages fans on the team's social media platforms. She's accepted a 4-week internship with the Saskatchewan Roughriders of the Canadian Football League. She'll work in marketing, operations, and analytics during the team's training camp in May.
I don't think there's a better club she could be going to. Like you said, I mean, Regina is absolutely football crazy.
Mounties head coach Scott Brady says more and more women are getting involved in football.
Both in the CFL and at the U Sports level. I think there's just so many of them who have a passion for the game, and they just haven't been afforded the opportunities in the past.
Cameron wrote letters to the National Football League when she was just a kid, trying to convince the commissioner to let women play.
Can you give us a shot? And yeah, we can be physical too. I'm playing, and I'd love to see somebody that I could look up to in that way.
She'll be back with the Mounties in the fall and hopes to turn her education and passion for football into a career. Derek Haggett, CTV News, Sackville, New Brunswick.
Still ahead, a rock and roll icon is set to perform in Moose Jaw, Saskatoon in December.
All right, welcome back. We're going to take a look at your rural forecast heading into tomorrow. Midweek, and we're going to see those temperatures gradually warming up and getting closer to the seasonal mark. Areas like Outlook tomorrow, mix of sun and cloud, 14 degrees, still cooler along the eastern border there. Hudson Bay, 8 and cloudy, 8 for Wynyard, a mix of sun and cloud, 7 and a mix of sun and cloud for Melfort, 12 degrees for Meadow Lake and Spiritwood, a mix of sun and cloud there, 14 also for Kindersley, seeing mainly sunny conditions in Lloydminster, 16 and a mix of sun and cloud. Closer to the southern border, we're looking at similar temperatures, 16 for Leader, 14 for Maple Creek, 12 for East End Cypress, 15 for Rosetown, and over in the east there is still a little cooler and cloudier. 7 and cloudy for Kenora, Broadview 9 and cloudy, and Carlisle mostly cloudy, 9 degrees. 9 and mainly sunny though for Hudson Bay and Pilot Butte, and 11 degrees for Coronach and Assiniboia, and 10 for Rockland. Taking a closer look at Edam, where internet speeds up to 1 gig are available through SaskTel. Also, I never gave a shout out yesterday to the lovely lady who answered the phone at the village office to make sure I pronounced it correctly. Thank you so much for helping me out. Mainly sunny in Edam tomorrow. 12 degrees is the expected daytime high, with the winds up to 25 kilometers an hour.
An international rock icon is making 2 stops in Saskatchewan. He'll be a little older, but Gene Simmons, one of the founding members of KISS, is bringing his solo act to town. The Gene Simmons Band will play Moose Jaw's Temple Garden Centre on December 5th and a TCU Place in Saskatoon 2 nights later. It's the Performing All the Classic Hits Canada 2026 tour. Tickets go on sale Friday, May 1st at genesimmons.com or on the venue websites. Well, a blow to OPEC, with the United Arab Emirates, the 3rd largest oil producer, leaving the group. The organization has seen its influence wane recently, but the move brings up questions about what this will mean for gas prices. Javier Boschman has more on what that development and what Canadians have seen at the pump since Ottawa's tax holiday.
Another plot twist in the story of gas prices' wild ride, with a shakeup at OPEC. As of May 1st, the United Arab Emirates will be out of the oil exporting group, and the impact of the UAE's exit, say analysts, is still to be determined.
UAE wants to increase its output, but that's going to take time. Of course, getting into market is still a real challenge with that blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. So the volatility, unfortunately, and the sustained high prices, I think those are going to last for a while.
Well, it's going to be $200. I'm used to it at this point.
And Fizhank says he hasn't noticed the tax holiday Ottawa brought in to cushion the blow of rising costs.
Is there? There's supposed to be a tax holiday?
The excise tax holiday came into effect more than a week ago. The government estimated it would save Canadians about 10 cents a litre at the pump. But with negotiations over the Strait of Hormuz deadlocked, the price of oil worldwide has steadily risen in the past week. And so here's a look at how the tax holiday may be cushioning the blow. On April 14th, when Ottawa announced the cut, the national average was around 176 cents a litre. On April 19th, the day before the move came into effect, the price 174. April 21st, 164 cents a litre, the lowest price this month. Today, it's back up to $1.75 a litre, around 9 cents lower than the highest price this year. Now, all this as south of the border, Americans are paying the highest price at the pump in 4 years. That was in April 2022, shortly after Russia invaded Ukraine. Some drivers putting in a lot of kilometers say 10 cents a litre is small comfort.
But 10 cents is not...
But to others, anything helps as costs add up. There's still plenty of time for the price of gas to go up and down before the tax holiday ends. That's slated for September. Geneviève Beauchemin, CTV News, Montreal.
All right, let's take a look at the canola street price. It's up $3.70 to $683.93 per ton. Futures price up $9.30 to $740.10 per ton. Amber durum wheat stays the same, $278.59 per ton, while red spring wheat's up $4.90 to $302.46 per ton. Feed barley, $250.88 per ton, and flax is $630.54 per ton. Prices courtesy of Bunge and Ice Futures Canada. The markets both going down. The TSX dropped by 233 points. The Dow Jones by 25 points. As for the Canadian dollar, it dropped almost 0.3% to 73.06 cents U.S. On the commodity front, gold down $85.33. West Texas Intermediate crude up $3.56. It's almost close to $100 a barrel. While Western Canadian Select crude went up $1.65. So, what does that do to gas prices? It has not moved. It's sitting at $1.69.9 cents per litre.
If you were looking for some clarity on the Sovereign Wealth Fund, you didn't get much of it in the update today. The Canada Strong Fund is meant to support major infrastructure projects in Canada. Ottawa's pledging $25 billion to the fund, and the federal government says Canadians will be able to put in their own money. But that's not clear yet how. The finance minister says it will be like buying a bond, where the initial capital is protected. The United Arab Emirates is leaving OPEC. The UAE is one of the largest oil producers in the cartel, but has clashed with Saudi Arabia's agenda over the years. The UAE wants to get more oil to the market. Riyadh often limits the amount of oil it can release. UAE first joined the group in 1967. It will leave on May 1st. General Motors says it expects a $500 million tariff refund from Washington. The U.S. Supreme Court deemed some of the tariffs illegal, forcing the Trump administration to start a refund process. The tariffs will still cost General Motors about $2.5 to $3.5 billion this year. Those are your business headlines. I'm Morella Fernandez.
We've got it tonight. Let's see what's coming up. Will Trent, followed by R.J. Decker, and then High Potential. Just one Big Bang Theory. Sabine loses.
I know.
E-Talk, and then you've got your national and local news. Hey, the province has released the top baby names in Saskatchewan for 2025.
Here's a look at the most popular names for girls. Olivia taking the #1 spot with 43 babies being given the name last year. Lainey, Nora, Amelia, and Evelyn round out the top 5. And for boys, Noah was the most common name, followed by Jack, Muhammad, Oliver, and William. This is the first time Muhammad has made the list, and you can see a full list of the top 20 baby names for 2025 in Saskatchewan on our website at ctvnews.ca/Regina.
No Sabine? I'm shocked.
It's the romper room childhood all over again. All right, the most athletic amphibians in the world went head-to-head over the weekend in Croatia.
Okay, so this is part of the 47th annual Frog Night Frog Jumping Contest. They make sounds and the frogs jump. The champion cleared more than a meter, while some of the ones with room for improvements only jumped a few centimeters. They weren't that scared. The frogs, which are caught locally in the days before the contest, are returned to the wild afterwards.
That's very stressful.
Not sure what their mental state would be, but I'm sure they're fine.
It's giving remember the game was it Leapfrogger or whatever, where you had to hop through traffic?
Oh, Frogger.
Yeah. Was it Atari?
I'm not sure what it was. Jump! That's not going to win. That was like 4, 5